Yes, it's a Monday of a week in which we have a test on Friday. It is going to be very, very difficult. We will try, but it's going to be very difficult to do a relearn packet for the second test. So, no, I said we will try, but the problem is the market period ends like the following Friday, which gives me like a week and a half to get a relearn packet done, graded, and retested. So it puts a lot of pressure on you guys. So the big thing is to hopefully do really well the first time around on this test. Okay? Okay. So, without any further ado, I would like to go over the quiz. And I think the quiz was not an issue. I don't think there were issues with the skills. I think there were issues with what do I do when. And generally, if that's the case, tomorrow's quiz will look really, really good. So, without any further ado, let's get those quizzes out and let's go over them. I felt personally that number 1 was pretty easy, number 2 was pretty hard, and number 3 was very easy. So
I would have gotten the answer right, but I missed the minus sign and I minus.
that'll do it. Okay, so let's see here. Number 1 says the following. Let me get the old man glasses on here. Kn minus y equals rs. And it asks you to solve for n. Now, when it says solve for n, that means make your answer read n equals. Okay? Are you starting again? They call me Flipper. Flipper.
She doesn't like being called Flipper.
I know, but she sounds like Flipper.
So
You ever hear Flipper?
it's a dog.
It's a dolphin, yeah. Now, add y to both sides. In my quest to get n by itself, die, kn equals rs plus y. And it was at this point that we had a little bit of a difficulty here. The next step is clearly to divide by k. And the best way to divide by k is to just do that. Now, some people did this. And the problem is when you write it like this, it means the k is only going into the y. Or they wrote this. That means the k only goes into the y. You need to put it in parentheses if you're going to write it like that. Okay? But the best way is this way. So, traditionally in math, you would write it as it appears in the box. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, I want to go now to the third one and then go back to the second one. The reason I want to go to the third one is I think it'll fit easier. So it says here, a is 3x squared plus 5x minus 4. And it says that b is negative 2x squared minus 9x plus 7. Usually that means something's running in the background on the computer. It wants you to do a minus b. But a is this guy, and b is this guy. So for a, I'll put a in parentheses, though it's not necessary. 3x squared plus 5x minus 4. And b is going to be negative 2x squared minus 9x plus 7. The key to this is to understand that it's minus and then the parentheses. And then, once you see that, you should remember from our lessons that the negative means to distribute to all 3 terms. So I'm going to get 3x squared plus 5x minus 4 plus 2x squared. Remember, to negate means to change the sign. Plus 9x minus 7. Now, once you have taken and changed every one of those signs, the next thing you do is buckets. You just put the common terms together. If I have 3x squareds and 2x squareds, I have 5x squareds. If I have 5x's and 9x's, I have 14x's. And last but not least, 4 negatives and 7 negatives make 11 negatives. Okay? Any questions on that?
Just no worries.
All right. Both of those questions, the red and the blue, are fairly typical Regents exam level questions. The red one might be a little bit on the easy side. Nowadays they like to throw some square roots in there. We'll get to those as the year goes on. The blue one is very typical. It's something that is almost predictable to be on your Regents exam. Okay? Any questions? Okay, I'm pausing here while Hunter frantically writes.
That's true.
Okay, so now let's go to the last one, which I felt was the hardest, not necessarily because what to do was difficult. I thought everybody in the room knew what to do. I just thought it was a pain in the butt with all the fractions. So, but then again, you guys get the calculator, and I actually did it in my head, and I was worried that I might have gotten it wrong, but then I looked at about 5 or 6 papers and realized that they got the same answer I did for the most part, so I was probably getting it right. So, I always like to start with the x's first, so I'm going to add 5/12 x to both sides. And I'm just gonna write this down now to get it out of the way. Now, the question is, what's 3/4 plus 5/12? And when I added that up, where is my sheet here?
7/6.
7/6? I didn't think it was 7/6. I got, oh, okay, I didn't reduce it. All right, I'll reduce it. Yeah, yours is a little bit better reduced. 7/6 x. Okay, I actually ended up reducing it at the end. You reduced it earlier. All right, then I'm gonna add 2/3 to both sides. And I get 7/6 x equals, now 5/2 plus 2/3, what did that come out to be? 13 over 6? 19 over 6. Okay? And now, now I'm gonna divide both sides by 7/6. Years ago, we would have used a slightly different technique, but given that you have calculators, this is fine. 19 over 6 divided by 7 over 6, the 6's are gonna go die. You're gonna get 19 over 7. And that's the best way to leave the answer. Now, you could also make it 2 and 5/7. I would like to have a very serious conversation with all of you who put down decimals. What have I said a minimum of a dozen times in the past couple of weeks about decimals and fractions?
No good.
Yeah, don't do the decimals. Don't! You can't get it any righter. You have a graphing calculator that does all fraction work for you. All you need to do is parenthesis 19 divided by 6, parenthesis, divided by, parenthesis, 7 divided by 6, parenthesis. That's it. Everything should be expressed as a fraction. Okay? The only time you go to a decimal is if they express it as a decimal in the answers, or if they say round to the nearest whatever. I can tell you that's rarely done. On your entire Regents exam, if it happens twice, I'll be shocked. Fractions are definitely the norm. Okay? Any questions? All right. So, now, how do you feel about number 3?
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Well, we don't have to like it. So, let's just, tomorrow I think we'll come in and do a great job on that. Now, you know, if you've been paying any attention to how I structure class and the test, you know that you're going to get questions like that on your exam. All right? And personally, I think once you know what to do, they're not too hard. Okay? All right. This question might be the same exact question we just did. Oh, no, this one's a 4. Can we all say we do it the same exact way? We subtract 3/4 x from both sides. We add 2/3 to both sides. Oh, I sure hope you can do that. Who knows what the answer to this one is? I'm looking to save a little time here.
Equals 112 over 3.
Did anybody else get 112 over 3?
Yeah.
I have multiple yeses.
No.
Who says no?
I got 33. I don't.
I probably did it wrong, but
I probably did it wrong.
All right, let's try to do this very quickly. Minus 3/4 x, minus 3/4 x. In terms of eighths, this is 6/8. So this gives me 1/8 x equals 4 2/3. And look, you could divide by 1/8, or you could multiply by 8. It's the same exact thing. In your calculators, this is how you're going to enter this in your calculator. Ready? Parenthesis 4 plus parenthesis 2 divided by 3 parenthesis. That's 4 2/3.
wait, why is there like a big parentheses?
Because I want to say that I'm going to divide the whole thing. If I don't put the big parentheses there, and then I put times 8 or multiply, then what happens is the 8 only goes by the 2/3
Oh.
instead of by the whole 4 2/3. So by putting it in, is that what you did? Yeah. If you put it in the whole parentheses, then we don't have an issue with that.
There's like a little
I
one.
do
Okay.
I get the right answer. I just I turn them all into the same bottom part.
Oh, yeah, you can make it into an improper fraction. You could even convert to a decimal, multiply, and do math, enter, enter. You could do all of those things, okay? But to me, this is quick and easy. All right, and you should know this for other practical problems. Next, use an area diagram. And this is a little bit of a fun one. It's a trinomial multiplied by a trinomial. So,
Enter, enter. Wait, what was the answer?
I think they said something about 119, 112.
Oh. Over 3. Yeah.
Okay. Now, distributing. I'm going to get 2x to the 4th. Well, all I'm doing here, just don't even look at the bottom 2 rows. Just distribute the x squared to all of these terms. Minus 5x cubed plus 3x squared. By the way, I have seen now, I want to say 5 or 6 Regents exams for this course, and this tends to be on it. Either a trinomial times a binomial or a trinomial times a trinomial. They like them on the Regents exam. And what I like about it is it's really predictable. You don't have to read a paragraph to get it right. Okay? I would love a test made up of all questions like this. These are much easier than a lot of the questions on the test. Now, it may be stupid mistake city, but I think it's very doable. 5x times 2x is, be careful to put the signs down. Very important. Minus 25. Oh, this is cubed, I'm sorry. Squared. And then plus 15x. This is going to be minus 14x squared plus 35x minus 21. Now, with this big box, what do you have to remember to do to get your final answer?
Fuchi peanut.
Fuchi peanuts. Yes, we're going to get multiple Fuchi peanuts here. We have this Fuchi peanut, we have this Fuchi peanut, and we have the deformed Fuchi peanut in the middle. The one that is seriously a mutant. Okay, so this is supposed to be a 4 there. So we have 2x to the 4th, then minus 5x cubed and plus 10x cubed is plus 5x cubed. Now 3x squared, that's minus 22x squared, which is plus 22x squared, and plus 40x, and minus 21. Okay? Now, what's great about a question like this is it pretty much you're guaranteed partial credit, because if you do anything right, you're going to get, a question like this would typically be worth 2 points. If you do anything right, you're going to get 1. The bad news is you got to do it all right to get 2. 1 mistake of signs, 1 addition mistake, and you lose half of the credit, which is very unfair. Yes?
What's the number in the bottom left corner?
Bottom left, 44x squared.
I think I have 40.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be a 14. It's supposed to be a negative 14. See, I couldn't even read my own handwriting. That's negative 39, so this should be negative 36x squared. Okay? I thought that was 44x squared. Yo muy malo. And there's a great example. I would have lost a point, even though I got 8 out of 9 boxes correct, and I added up correct every time I misread something. And I would have lost a point. 50% of the credit because I misread. That, folks, is what makes your test so hard. You lose half the credit for 1 sloppy mistake. All right, so let's go on to today's lesson, which is all about 0 and negative exponents, okay? Does anybody remember why x to the 0 is 1?
Yes.
Why, Mr. Fushi? What do we got?
Because Mr. Frank told us.
Yeah, I don't like that answer. Why is anything to the 0 1? I think it's important to know. If I was a kid sitting in class, I would say to myself the following. Okay, so math is supposed to be brilliant. Math is supposed to be logical. And you're telling me that something to the nothing is 1. This does not sound logical to me. This sounds like a bunch of gimmicks.
You explained it to us, but I don't remember.
Okay, let's pick. Go ahead.
Because x to the 0 over x to the 0 is 1, because anything divided by itself is 1.
Well, that is ultimately a big part of the proof, but you don't start with x to the 0. Let's start with something simple like 3 to the 4. over 3 to the 4. Now, what is anything divided by itself? Always equal. 1. And if I subtract exponents, which is the rule here, I get 3 to the 0. So, 3 to the 0 is 1. And the fact is, if I started with x to the 4th over x to the 4th and applied the same rule, anything divided by itself is 1. And if I subtract exponents, I get 0. So therefore, anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay? So that's a little reminder about why x to the 0 is 1. Now, with a similar idea in mind, let's actually, before I do n to the 3rd over n to the 5th, let's do this one. What's n to the 5th over n to the 3rd equal? N to the 2nd, right? And the reason is because n to the 5th is, and n to the 3rd is, and I find the following step very therapeutic in my difficult day. Die. We have n squared. Okay, are we all good with that? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Yes, you can go home, and when everything from the news to your parents to your friends make you angry, you can get it out of your system this way. All right, n to the 3rd over n to the 5th, we change things up a little. Now the n to the 3rd goes in the top, and the n to the 5th goes on the 5. Die! So this is 1 over n squared. Now, if I subtract exponents here, what's 3 minus 5? N to the negative 2. So here's the big revelation. Ready? A negative exponent means reciprocal. The big revelation. A negative exponent means reciprocal. Now, there's a tendency on every student's part, and to be honest with you, every person who first sees this, to think somehow, some way, a negative exponent means a negative needs to be part of the answer. Is there any negative in the answer? No, absolutely not. Okay, so let us evaluate some of these. 5 to the negative 2, what would that be?
0.05.
Well, see, now you're using your calculator, and I was going to get to that second. And it's actually 0.04. Go ahead. Yeah, I like the answer 1 over 25. Okay? Ready? Hey, guys. Negative exponent. In fact, you know what? In some things in life you just drill into your head. So what I actually do with my 8th graders, negative exponent. And they all yell, reciprocal, sir! Now, I see my negative exponent. It's reciprocal. So it's 1 over 5 to the positive 2. And what's 5 squared, everybody? 25. Now, of course, given the fact that this class loves their decimals, you can use your calculator. Everybody, let's do it on the calculator. Slow down.
I like
I know. Press 5, and then you know the caret symbol for exponent, right? It's on the right-hand side. Up arrow, and then put in negative 2. And then hit enter. And when you do that, it says 0.04. Your next step, Emma? There you go. Math enter, enter, and what do you get? 1 over 25. So it is possible to do these on your calculator as well. Try the next one, 7 to the negative 3. Personally, I would do this on the calculator because most people don't walk around with the fact that 7 to the 3rd is 343 off the top of their head.
Oh, 343?
Gotta have fun with this stuff, Maya.
Yeah, Mommy, you're
Okay,
a
so, negative exponent, reciprocal, sir. 1 over 7 to the 3rd, which is 1 over 343. If you express that as a decimal, it's very ugly. Try C. I got it. Try C. People, you're gonna come here, got somebody nice. Hello? Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Okay, I think we're running a little low on time. H of 4, so this is going to be 3 times 4 to the 0 plus 4 to the negative 2. Now, order of operations says do your exponents first. What's 4 to the 0? 1. 1 times 3 is 3. So the first part's 3. Negative exponent, reciprocal, 1 over 16. So the answer is 3 and 1/16. Okay, folks, this is the last of the new stuff. Tomorrow, remind me, we'll finish up the last couple, and then we have test this week. Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta. Arrivederci, smile a lot, ciao, arrivederci, adios amigos y amigas. Cheerio, sayonara, codifish,